Have you ever wondered if there's anything you can do with all of that chicken manure that your lovely little chickens leave behind every day for you in their coop? Well, good news, because in this video I'm going to show you how you can turn chicken manure into chicken manure compost. It'll take 12 months, but the process is pretty hands-off. Let's have a look. So every single day, my chickens do 3 things: eat, sleep, poop. That's a lot of poop to clean up every single week. But without fail, every single week, I'll go into my Omlet, Eglu, Coop, and I'll pull out the tray and I'll rake off or scrape off all of that pure chicken manure. Now in the past, I used to just dump it all in my compost heap and then mix it in with everything else like grass and food waste. But last year, I tried a little bit of an experiment. I was thinking of ways to create chicken fertiliser or chicken manure fertiliser that I could just sprinkle on my garden. And the first thing that came to mind was, okay, pile up all that chicken manure into one place and leave it in the sun to dry. When it dries, I'll be able to scrumple it up and, make it into a fine powder, and perhaps then I'll be able to sprinkle it over my raised beds to fertilise the beds. But as it happens, I didn't actually complete that experiment. I did an accidental experiment, and I ended up making some of the best chicken manure compost I've ever seen. In fact, I didn't even know chicken manure compost like this was actually a thing. Here's exactly how I did it. So every week for a year, pretty much, well 6 months I would say, I cleaned my coop out, scraped all of the chicken droppings out of the coop, and I put them into a plastic container. And I only ever put chicken manure in that container. And I stored that container inside my greenhouse, which is what I'm sitting in now. And I just left it for a year. Now the greenhouse gets quite hot in the summer and it gets coldish in the winter. But what I also notice happens inside the greenhouse is when I water the beds, condensation occurs and the top inside of the greenhouse canopy sort of drops water, so there is a moisture content inside the greenhouse, unless of course I ventilate it by opening the doors at the end. But anyway, what I did with this chicken manure was I just left it in the plastic container in a dry spot, a hot spot inside the greenhouse, and I just piled week after week chicken manure inside the container, and I left it there for a year. Might have even been a little bit longer than a year. I wasn't really sure what I would find or what I was going to do with it. I just knew I had a plan. I have this natural resource, this chicken manure that my chickens produce freely every single day. And I knew, because lots of people have told me, how good a fertiliser chicken manure is. So I thought there must be some way I can use this. How about I create my own chicken manure compost? And that's exactly what I did, accidentally. So I left this chicken manure inside the plastic container for a year, and I'm just now cleaning the greenhouse, getting it ready for this growing season. And I go over to my chicken manure plastic containers and I get my big fork and I start turning it over, because the top layer is it's quite dry and brittle, and it doesn't really fill you with confidence of what lies beneath. But as I forked into the chicken manure, what I found as I turned it over was the compost, or the manure, had broken down to create this rich, fine, lovely looking compost made purely from fertiliser, and probably the little bit of green clippings and hair that ends up in the container from the chicken coop as I clean it. So that was really interesting, and it just looks so rich, like you can see in the video. But there was something else that I did completely accidentally that I think contributed to the quality of the compost that was created from the manure. What I did was, I have these potato stackable grow pots, and the purpose of these stackable grow pots is that you can grow potatoes in them, and you put one on the bottom and then you stack another one on top and then another one on top, so you basically create a potato tower and the potato leaves come out the sides. Anyway, I wasn't using them last year, so I decided to use them for this experiment. Now, I stacked my chicken manure plastic container into a clear container, so effectively there was 2 containers tightly knit together. And what I found when I unpacked everything this year was that in the top container, the manure had broken down into this beautiful looking, rich, fertile compost material. And then I lifted off the top container, and on the bottom layer, on the bottom container, it seems to have acted as a catchment area for all the little bugs. So all the little maggots and stuff that were inside the chicken manure were now inside the bottom container. So I was able to separate the two of them and then use all of the insects in the bottom container. I took that outside and I actually fed them to the chickens. Because if you didn't already know, chickens love insects, part of their natural diet, I guess. So I just tipped out all of these little insects onto the grass and the chickens fought over them, which was amazing, you know. Like, so I had created from their manure a nutritious source of food for the chickens and this beautiful, rich, gardener's gold chicken manure fertiliser. And I think that's brilliant. I think it's amazing. I didn't touch this. I didn't do anything with it. I just left it to dry inside the greenhouse for a year. And when I looked at it again in a year's time and started turning it over, that's what I had. So if you've ever wondered how to create the best looking chicken manure compost, that's how I did it. Now I'm going to put it on my greenhouse this year and we'll see how it does. But I thought that was really useful and very interesting. And I'm not sure how important the second container is underneath, but it seems to be important for some reason. Anyway, I hope that helps you create your own chicken manure compost, or even give you an idea what you can do with all of that luscious, rich chicken poop that you have to clean up every single week. And I should say that what makes cleaning my chicken coop out very easy is the coop that I use, which is an Omlet Eglu Go Up, which if you click the link up here somewhere, you will see that I reviewed that after 2 years of use, and it really does make the whole process a heck of a lot easier. There's links and stuff below to all of that. But if you like this video and you're interested in more ways you can turn your homestead into income sources and become more self-sufficient, then get yourself over to bornbright.com, link down below. And for any other self-sufficiency content, come back again. I'll see you next time.